Welcome back to Migration Music. In this episode, I'm so happy to be talking with composer Jihyung Kim. Jihyung writes fantastical music, often inspired by fairy tales and her disbelief in the happily ever after ending. Currently teaching at the Washington State University, she studied at the Cornell and Indiana universities. However, she had an unusual path pursuing her musical trainings. How so? Please continue watching to find out, and do stay to the end for my performance of her etude. You said that you went into composition in undergrad. Did you always play instruments or compose before you went to undergrad?
So that's kind of a fun story that I have.
Okay.
That so I literally had no musical background until I was 18.
Wow.
So no instrument, and I couldn't even read the score. I didn't know.
Wow.
I mean, I knew what treble is, but then I didn't know what bass type was. So when
I
I
see.
first saw it, I was like, "What is this?" Different. And then my
Nice.
piano teacher said, "That's called bass clef, and you're
Okay.
supposed to know." So I was like,
You're supposed to know.
I didn't know. Then but then I loved listening to music since I was a kid.
Nice.
That was the only thing I enjoyed a lot. So even though I didn't get the musical education, I got to listen to a lot of music.
Was it all classical music?
Most of it. Most of
Wow.
them are classical music. The symphonies and mostly the piano pieces.
Hmm.
I just had no idea why I liked piano, but then I just loved the sound of the piano.
Okay.
And I wanted to play it, but then in Korea, my parents thought they just wanted me to have a job that could make more money. That's the culture in
Asian
Asia,
parents.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
And especially if you didn't start music since when you were 5 or 6 years
Right.
old, they didn't like the idea to get it started later, right?
Did you have a difficult time when you were choosing major?
Yeah, so we just had a lot of fight for years and years, and then at the end I just told my parents that if you don't allow me to study this music, then I wouldn't go to college.
Wow.
That's what I said.
Amazing.
And then
I want to applaud here. It's a very inspiring story. And what did they say?
And they were like, because I did pretty well on my academic works. So they were like, what? So they just said, okay then, whatever you wish. So they finally allowed me to learn things, and then so I started learning piano first. That was the first instrument that I got to learn, and I really just loved playing it, loved practicing it mostly. But then the piano teacher said, it's just too late for you to become a pianist because you're now like 18. It's just too
You started at the age of 18.
Yeah.
In college?
Okay. It was in high school.
In high school, okay.
Yeah, I was preparing for the entrance exam for the college, the college auditions and everything.
Yeah.
My piano teacher said, but you've got a good ear, you have perfect pitch. I don't know how I got this, but then I have perfect pitch. So she said, what about you do the competition that you probably can do? So that's how I got to learn those competition things in the beginning.
Nice. And then in a short period of time, you just got your portfolio and for all the competitions.
I was able to do that, even though that means I had to practice really like 8 hours a day.
Wow, that's so inspiring. And then you got to Yonsei University.
University, yeah.
And what did you experience there?
First of all, so I was just so excited to be there because other than myself, the students, my colleagues they were more experienced than I did.
Okay.
They were just better composers, they're players, and the school is one of the best school I think in Korea. So the players outside the composition department, the other department like the piano, violin, just the level of performers were just amazing. So I got to learn them playing every day in school.
Wow.
So that was very inspiring thing for me as a young composer, I think. When I was in undergrad in Korea, I was exactly told, as you said, like you should do this and you shouldn't do this. The teachers or the colleagues, have been told you shouldn't write this aesthetic, but you should go for this aesthetic. So it was not an open environment from my perspective. And that's exactly why I went to United States for my grad schools, because I just wanted to do what I want, and then I wanted to have some support for doing what I want, I guess.
How did your studies in America change your perspective as a composer, especially as an Asian composer that lived in America?
I think the most important thing was I felt liberating in a way, because as we just talked, there's no one major aesthetic that the composer should follow, right? It's just that there are so many different composers. They're just writing a lot of different music. It allows me to focus on what I want, because I know some people will like it and some people will hate it. Okay. That's just a nature. So I think that's the thing.
So the first piece I came across by yours is the Once Upon a Time. It is an ensemble piece, and you wrote it at Cornell. Is that correct? Right. Can you tell us a bit about the piece?
Once Upon a Time.
It's a fairy tale.
Yeah, there was a fairy tale. So that I wrote it in 2018, I think. That was commissioned by the Aspen School of Music and Festival. And so that piece was about fairy tale. And it's not the first piece that I wrote about fairy tale. I have several other pieces based on the fairy tale. It's just because I love that genre. I love the fairy tale.
Is it a specific fairy tale you were writing about?
So I had other pieces based on the specific tales, but then that one was not. I just wanted to write a piece that resembles a fairy tale, but not specify one tale.
I see.
It just features general characteristics of a tale, I think.
What is the general character or aesthetics of a fairy tale in music?
You know, the fairy tale always starts with Once Upon a Time.
Once upon a time, yes.
Yeah, and it ends with, and they live happily ever after. So no matter what happens, it ends with the happy ending, and everybody suddenly becomes happy. And I just found this so bizarre. You know,
it's pretty bizarre. Yes.
The dramas that the main character went through, it's just horrible. And then it just seems like, and they lived happily ever after. So I was like, how? Why? Yeah, that character should have some trauma or something. Yes. It just doesn't make sense. And I love that part of the fairy tale. That's why that Once Upon a Time just ends with just weird E major happy ending. Suddenly, just wanting to create those.
So would you say your happy ending is sort of a mocking of the fairy tale genre?
Yeah, just the way that I wrote that final moment of the piece. I just want it to be very sudden and doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. So how about the etudes? 3 etudes. How did you come up with the idea to write 3 etudes?
I didn't specifically want 3 etudes, but then at the moment I had 3, so that's why the title became 3 etudes. And then the idea of each etude was just simply because I wanted to write something with the smallest material possible.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that was my just only thought at that moment. I just thought, because so most of my pieces are from my own improvisation, because I just like to improvise something on the piano and then always start from there. And especially for the piano piece, because I play piano, I just play piano like just like playing with a toy. That's how I perceive my own piano, And then at that time, I was just playing around. Then I thought, okay, this small interval, like minor 7th and major 2nd, this interval. What can I do with this? Only this. If I limit myself with only this material, then what can I make out of it? I was just curious. That was the first scene of the etude, I think.
Yeah. And it turned out to be a great etude. The first one.
It turned out to be a very difficult etude, I think.
Yeah, very difficult and very effective at the same time.